Frank Robinson was born to Frank and Rebecca Robinson and raised on a farm in the Willows district near Assiniboia, Saskatchewan, along with his identical twin brother John and sisters Sylvia and Catherine. The family worked hard, and their parents always encouraged their children to become the best they could be. Frank got started in the poultry business young. In the 5th grade, he purchased 25 light Sussex hens from a hatchery supply flock and delivered eggs every Saturday. Frank's university education began at the University of Saskatchewan, where he was encouraged to consider graduate school by doctors Roy Crawford, Hank Clausen, and Ray Strickland. Frank earned his master's degree from Virginia Tech. Frank received his PhD from the University of Guelph. Frank met and married Nancy in Guelph. Together they have 4 children, Katie, Martin, Kevin, and Jenna. In 1987, Frank co-hosted a poultry day. No one had ever thought to bring producers to the research farm before. The Poultry Day was the start of the Poultry Research Center, an extremely successful model of research collaboration between the industry and the University of Alberta. The Poultry Research Center lives on today as the Poultry Innovation Partnership. Frank's research focused on reproductive efficiency in meat-type poultry and always maintained a close connection to industry. His research fundamentally changed how broiler breeders are managed around the world, most notably in timing of photostimulation. He has been author or co-author of more than 100 peer-reviewed publications, more than 200 abstracts, 2 books, and dozens of conference proceedings. Frank was also instrumental in starting a rare breeds program at the University of Alberta, which has grown into a thriving heritage hen adoption program. Frank is currently special advisor to the Dean for Agricultural, Life, and Environmental Sciences, with a special focus on experiential learning, and as of this induction date, he has 15 days left to retirement. Yes, he's counting. Frank's quirky and offbeat approach to learning and educating are legendary. In 2004, Frank developed a myth-busting program called Heifer in Your Tank, a sort of Saturday Night Live approach to science. The program reached more than 1,000 students from faculties across the university and instilled a deeper appreciation for animal science to students and the audiences they edutained through the program. Frank has received many awards over his career for research and for teaching. Some notable examples are being named a Canadian 3M National Teaching Fellow, a Poultry Science Association Fellow, and in 2004, he and the Poultry Group received the World's Poultry Science Association Education Award. He is also a member of the Alberta Agricultural Hall of Fame. Frank's lasting legacy is truly in the many, many lives he has touched throughout his career. There are dozens, if not hundreds of people working in poultry research or industry today because of his deep, infectious passion for poultry and his encouragement to go farther than you thought was possible.
Well, I grew up before life was in color. Everything was in black and white. At about 5th grade, I happened to get a message from a lady who was selling 25 light Sussex hens. And she was a hatching egg producer. And so I bought those 25 hens, and every Saturday I would deliver eggs to all the people in my hometown. And from then on, we started being chicken catchers. My brother and I used to have chickens, turkeys, layers, whatever you can have without quota we had. And that carried through right until about grade 12. Well, at the University of Saskatchewan, I actually went there as an animal science major, and there were so many scholarships for poultry, I changed my major. But I also was taught by a whole lot of great people like Roy Crawford, Hank Clausen, and Ray Strickland. And all of them opened my eyes to things that I never even knew about before as big possibilities. And the more I started hanging around with them and grad students, the more I realized I think I could do this too. And with that, I went on to grad school in the US. I went to Virginia Tech for my master's, which was an awesome experience. And then I went to the University of Guelph for a PhD, which is also very, very, very good. But both were a huge amount of work. And I say that grad studies is a way of life. And but both all of those places set me up to do well, I think, in the future. I think I learned from students that you don't have to have them turn into a mini you, that you could actually come to where they are and adapt to them in the way that I always thought you had to be a very serious, hardcore person, but students were quirky, and I decided that I could be quirky too, and that was okay. And that was about a turning point about 2004, where I started doing a different kind of teaching, where I really embraced student creativity. And we did something called the Heifer in Your Tank for 10 years. And from that, we moved into the game of farm life. All of those things embrace the students' creativity and fun. And I think that's what I try to pick up from them most. I learned most from students is that once you capture their energy or engage them, and they can see what they could do, so you could call that having them see the spark, where they actually take off and really go. And a lot of students, it happens about halfway through a course, and you can just see them become engaged. Some students, it happens very early, but that's when I think you work towards that kind of engagement where they feel like they're participating and they do way better than they thought they could. Or you could say that's when they own the class. That's really what happens, I think. I think I would say to young poultry scientists that no matter what your research focus, whether it's applied or basic or even community-based, that you still maintain a tie with commercial agriculture. So I call it agricultural fluency, where you still could talk to somebody and tell them what you're doing as a poultry producer and have them understand what you're doing. So I think you need to be able to say what you're doing to a farmer, I think, and have that recognized. So don't lose that fluency. Even if you're a hardcore basic researcher, you still need to know the application of it. I grew up as a 4-H kid, and learning to do by doing was the 4-H motto, and I did that, and we could put our head on our heart and recite the whole thing. But then, once I started teaching, I sort of took some of that, and I sort of twisted it a little bit and called learning with dirty hands. What that meant was you get your hands dirty doing work, in which case you're actually learning by doing. But the longer I got into that, it often involved getting your feet dirty too. Because when you're working with agricultural animals, you often step in it. Yeah, I think once you learn with dirty hands and dirty feet, you can't wash it off, but it keeps you humble and makes you realize your place in what you're doing.